All right, hi guys, it's Dr. Ihrig. Now we're going to talk about quadratic functions, and we're just going to talk about quadratic functions. We'll do some problems coming up. So first of all, I'm in the scientific calculator. You can just hit the refresh button and pick the graphing calculator. Okay, now here's what I want you to notice about quadratic functions. This is from the formula sheet. Notice how each one of these has a squared term except for over here. But it's a trick because when you do multiplying binomials, you get x times x, which is x squared. Now, other things you can do. I'm just going to make up numbers and let's see what it looks like. I'm going to do x squared plus x plus 1. Here, I'm just going to do x minus 1 squared plus 1. Here, I'm going to do x minus 1, x minus 1. Now, I made up these numbers. They won't be the exact same graph, but I want you to notice what they all have in common. X squared plus x plus 1. Parentheses, x minus 1 squared plus 1. And then we've got x minus 1, x minus 1. Okay, let's look at the red graph first. Notice that, well, actually, let's look at all of them. Notice how all of them are like the letter U. That's the biggest hint ever about quadratics. Look at the letter U is literally in the word quadratic to remind you that's what a quadratic is. It looks like the letter U. Now, sometimes the U looks like this. Let's look at the red one. If it does, this point, even though it's decimals because I made up the numbers, this point is called my vertex. My vertex, also over here, is my turning point. Now, in this case, my turning point, I'm going to change these down here. My turning point is a minimum because that's the lowest x number. But if I turn this to a negative x squared, watch what happens to my graph. Boom! It flips. So this is now my vertex, and that's the maximum because that's the highest the graph can go. And it's not too high. It's only 1.25, but that's the highest. Now, sometimes we'll have graphs that will cross the x-axis. Sometimes we won't. In this case, it doesn't. So that means in this particular problem, the blue graph and also that red, or the first red graph, it would have no solutions because it never crosses the x-axis. That's different than this graph. If I look here and I zoom in, notice how my graph crosses at 2 points. So that means those 2 points are my roots or my solutions. Now let's take some more time analyzing this green graph. So I notice that those 2 points are my roots and my solutions. I also notice that this point right here is my vertex, and that vertex is also my axis of symmetry. And so if I just type in x equals axis, and whatever this point is, my x point 2.5, that is my axis of symmetry. Now we have a lot more to talk about, but we'll do it in terms of the questions. See you soon.